next week.
All right, Justin, thanks so much. Hey, it's time for the Bell Breakdown, and we have two very different kind of children toy movies this weekend, Toy Story and Child's Play. That, I'm assuming, has Chucky in it again, right?
Yeah, it does.
Josh Bell here, our film critic. First, I want to start off, though, by reading a mean tweet about Josh
really
Bell.
That mean, actually.
No, it's actually really nice. It's like mean with a twist.
Yeah.
And it says, Josh Bell has to be a little more positive on his critiques. A lot of new movies do suck, but many times his comments are depressing. Cheer up, Josh. We all love you.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet in its own way.
Right. So I just thought I'd share that because we do get a lot of comments about Josh. But you know, I say he doesn't waste our time. You are honest. And today, you're not going to depress anyone with our first review.
No, I enjoyed Toy Story 4, and I was a little skeptical. Obviously, this is the fourth movie, and by the time you get to the fourth movie of anything, you kind of wonder if they've run out of ideas. And in Toy Story 3, it had a really nice, well-crafted ending for the trilogy of Pixar's films about toys that kind of come to life when humans aren't around. And it was all about Woody, the cowboy, voiced by Tom Hanks, and Buzz Lightyear, the astronaut, voiced by Tim Allen, and the other toys. And they had their connection to Andy, the child. And at the end of the third movie, they move on to a younger child now that Andy is grown up. And it was all about the kind of circle of life, to quote another Disney movie.
Right.
And you wonder what else is there. And this movie doesn't have the emotional impact of those other movies. But I think it's smart that they didn't try to do the same thing. This movie is sort of a weird, wacky road trip adventure for the toys. We have a new toy that you've probably seen in a lot of the promotional material is Forky, who is a spork, and he has some googly eyes glued on him. And Forky has sort of an existential crisis about why is he alive, and he wants to throw himself in the trash. So you've got a suicidal spork.
What?
You've got
Sporks
the return.
are important because they can go either way.
That is true. But Forky has to learn that he's important and why he exists for the love of a child, just like the other toys. We also have Bo Peep, who returns. She was in the first couple Toy Stories and was given away. Now she reunites with Woody, but she's on her own. She's a lost toy. She's living at this carnival, and she's kind of an adventurer. And they give her a really interesting, different personality. And so this movie, it does rehash some of the familiar elements of the previous Toy Story movies, including some of the emotional beats about the attachment that the toys have to the children and about whether they're going to be discarded and the children are growing up and things like that. There's a rescue mission where they have to escape from a place here. It's this old antique store. But it's done with cleverness, with humor. The animation looks amazing. It's just astounding how much has advanced over time since 1995 when the first Toy Story came out.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's some shots in this movie that you would believe are real if it weren't for the fact that the toys are talking. So I think this movie is really entertaining. It's good for parents, it's good for kids, and it's another success from Pixar.
And you feel like it's kind of not like just a rehash.
It's not just a rehash.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some familiar elements, but they put enough of a spin on them that they aren't redundant.
Okay.
So if we had to have a fourth Toy Story, this is about the best we could hope for from it.
All right. See how positive that was?
Take that, random person on Twitter.
All right, let's talk about this next movie. Now, you kind of like horror movies, and this is Child's Play. It's a horror remake.
Yes.
And Chucky, I'm sure, is involved, as you said.
Yes, he is.
The doll.
He is a doll, yeah, and I actually love Chucky.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the original Chucky series, which is still going with the original creator, and the original voice is going to have its own show on Sci-Fi.
Okay.
But this remake changes Chucky. Instead of being possessed by the soul of a serial killer, Chucky is basically Siri or Alexa. He's like a smart home assistant in a doll, and he goes a little nuts. So Chucky is a killer robot. He's like the Terminator or something. Doesn't have as much personality. I think this movie is trying to say something maybe almost Black Mirror-ish about the way that we rely too much on our devices or something like that. It doesn't quite work. It's not particularly creepy, although Mark Hamill does the voice of Chucky here, and he is good at doing a creepy voice. But I think the problem is that Chucky just doesn't have the same personality because he's not a person, quote unquote. He's a machine.
Voice assistant or
He's
whatever.
Exactly. And so there are a few kind of fun set pieces here, but I feel like this movie is a bit all over the place. It tries to have different kinds of messages about the relationship with the child that Chucky has, again, about the use of technology. It doesn't really come together. I was hoping for a fun spin on this concept because I do love Chucky, and I feel like it's okay that they're remaking this as much as I'm looking forward to the original continuing. But I just feel like it doesn't quite work. I think horror fans might get a little bit out of it, but overall, they didn't find the right angle to tell this story again.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that's a review there of Child's Play. I mean, you really got into the whole Chucky thing.
well, like I said, I'm a big Chucky fan,
You are.
and I would say check out almost all the previous Chucky movies are a lot of fun. The most recent ones, which didn't open in theaters, Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, I believe are both on Netflix.
Okay.
So I would watch those over this remake.
They sound good, though. It's a
Yeah.
good night. You know, good horror films.
Have a
always
Chucky
fun.
marathon.
A
Yeah.
Chucky marathon. There you go. Thank you, Josh, for the Bell Breakdown. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.